We are basically a language school, and we have been in La Rochelle for 25 years. And from 2016, we opened an international department for offering French courses to foreigners. And 2 years ago, we started with long-term courses offering possibilities to study in France in French. Many schools or universities offer the possibility to study in English. Personally, I don't think that's very interesting, that's attractive, but the interest of speaking the French language, of having good knowledge of the organization of business in France and the culture of the country is a very good important tool for having an additional capacity to find a job. So that's why we focus on learning the language, reach a good level, and then study in France in French. We can discuss with some cases for those who only want to study in English, but basically that's our offer. We are located in a small city that we will discover later, called La Rochelle, in the southwest of France. Okay, what happened with my presentation? Okay. So now I give you some information about France itself and the language, the French language. I believe this is very interesting to have French as a third language. Everyone has his native language. English is compulsory, of course, in the modern world, but having French as a third language is quite interesting. France is the seventh economy in the world, biggest economy in the world. And we have now 45,000 companies, French companies outside France in 190 countries, which means that probably in your specific country, you can find French companies around you. And with the knowledge of the language, of the culture, having a French diploma can open a lot of doors for having a job, for working in France or in your country, in their own country, with a French company or a company doing business with French-speaking territories. You all know that in Africa, the number of French speakers is very important and increasing very fast. So we want to open doors, to offer keys for those who want to study in France in French. We will make a difference between studying in public universities and private schools. I want to tell you now that we mainly work with private schools, and I will explain the reason why. In public schools, there is no guarantee for having a place. The booking is done online, and we can't speak with anybody. Just online, you just have to put your file online and wait for an answer. We work with private schools. We know them very well. We can call them, visit them, and that's a big difference for having an answer and to be sure that we have a place for specific students. Of course, we will see that later, the fees are lower in universities and in private schools. But there is a big difference. In a room, In a classroom, in the private schools, we can find probably 30 students, no more. In a public school, we can have 300 students listening to the same teacher. No possibility to ask any question and to have a follow-up and to be guided by the teacher. That's a big difference. So the frame of higher education in France. So everything begins with what we call baccalaureate, that French students do after 12 years in primary schools, and then it's possible to study in 2 years. That's called, for example, BTS, Brevet de Technicien Supérieur. That's just below the license, that we also call bachelor. That's the same thing. That's 3 years after baccalaureate. You can see here 3 years. And it's possible to enter grande école with a very good reputation schools, but that's 5 years, the level of a master. For example, to be an engineer means 5 years after baccalaureate. And of course, it's also possible to have a doctorate, but that's very, very long. And medicine, even 12 years medicine. That's very long. We will see the services we offer. We can make an equivalence between local diplomas that the students have and the French system. Sometimes that's very important in order to save time, not to start from year 1, but perhaps year 2 or 3. It depends on the diploma the students have. So we offer every official translations who are needed, whatever the language, original language for the diploma and the documents. And then we send everything to a special official body in France who will make the equivalence with the diploma, the student's diploma. So the system for enrollment in higher education. Here, that's the public universities. The application should be made between November and the end of January. This year it was later because of the COVID, the end of the COVID. But that's the frame, November, January. And very important, the students should attach the proof of a B2 recognition for the French level, an official test, DELF, TCF, something like that, in no later than January. Okay, and each student can do 3 choices. For example, wants to learn arts in Paris and mathematics in Toulouse and I don't know, engineering in Bordeaux. That's a strange profile, but that's a possibility. The first reply will come in April for choice 1. It can be positive or negative. And then the second one in May and the third one in June. The problem is that many French students do not have places in public universities because there are not enough places. And as I said before, it's impossible to call universities or anybody and have information. That's impossible. That's why we work with private school. We normally have an answer within 2 weeks when the profile is complete. And we can secure a place even before they start learning the language, the French language. For example, we have some students looking for studying marketing. They send us a profile. We have an agreement with a business school for entering in 2023. At the conditions they get B2 level in September 2023. And they can start now the program, improve their level, get the DELF B2, and enter the programs. That means that a student and parents are sure what they will do with the French level, with the French language. Okay, so we have here the difference of fee, of cost for studying. That's just the cost for studying, not the accommodation or things like that. So international students outside European Union will pay an average of 4,000 euros a year. And that's the price, the lower offer for private schools, and sometimes up to 10,000 euros and rarely more than that, but that's also possible. So, of course, the price is higher, but if you consider that often the student will lose time waiting for the answer from a public system and obliged to get a B2 level in no later than January, with a private school who can secure a place in advance, the students will never lose time. That's quite important. So now that's a frame for studying in France. What do we do? That's a time for presenting our city, La Rochelle. We have the school in La Rochelle, the language school, but we have a lot of partners all over France. I can show you immediately this picture now, this slide. Okay, so the students arrive in La Rochelle, spends a few months, we will see that, for learning the French language, getting the B2 level, and then we work with 55 schools and 120 campuses. That means more than 400 different diplomas. And whatever they want to learn, it can be arts, it can be culinary, it can be hospitality, marketing, finance, many things, engineering too. We will probably have an offer for them. Okay, so the entry point is our school in La Rochelle, but we work with the whole country and offer possibilities, very large possibilities. So our city, La Rochelle, that's a very small city of 80,000 inhabitants, but with a very good reputation because it's an historical city, nicest place to study, and the third city in France for the quality of life. We have statistics like that. City number 6 for the tourism of French in France. So a small city, but very well known for French people. I would like to show you, I don't know how to do. Okay. On our web page, you have the chance to have a look on the city. That's the marina, the old marina. You can see the two very well-known towers. You can see many boats here. The school is here in the modern part of the city, near universities. There are 14,000 students among 80,000 inhabitants. So that's a very high percentage of students. Sorry, that's a phone call. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't put it up. Okay. Now it's okay. Sorry. Well, the city is very attractive, and really to be a student here is very well appreciated. I go back to my presentation if I can. I'm lost in my screens. Okay, should be here. That's fine. We are an accredited school with a label, the highest label in France for teaching French to foreigners. And as you can see, we have the maximum rate. One star is missing only, so that's quite close to the maximum of quality. Now, this is important because Campus France will know us, and applying for language course will be considered at the same level than studying in a university or a school because of this label. Okay, and most of the time we can have a joint letter of the school the student has been accepted in the same time, so that will help a lot for getting a visa. I want to let you know the duration of a class according to the level of the student when he starts. We make a difference between people, for example, from Mexico, Latin language, and I don't know, India, which is a different language, or China or Japan. And we will consider people from Japan being as A0, which means almost 1 year for getting the B2 level. And those with a Latin language are considered A1 and can get the B2 level, statistically speaking, for 36 within 36 weeks, 9 months. Okay, we will do a test with every student an agent can present to us. I mean, even if the student didn't book yet, we will do an interview by Skype or Zoom or whatever, and advise the student and the agent for the duration of the course. And if the student do not book, that's not a problem. We want things to be clear, and that's not the role of the family or the agent to decide the duration of the class. Of course, those who are complete beginners can follow this frame. I can say that we organize the courses with 20 hours per week, unless those who reach the B1 level. At B1, we will do 25 hours, 5 hours dedicated to preparation to DELF exam, and 5 hours for preparing the entrance to university or higher education. That includes the capacity to listen to a French teacher speaking fast for a long time, making notes in French, being able to make a resume, to make by the end, and to make a presentation, present a written report, things like that. We have 4 entry dates for intakes every year: January, April, July, October, and for every level each time. So that's quite easy to match students' requirement and to adapt ourselves to different situation. We know already the dates when the course will finish and the date of the B2 exam, official one, which is DELF. They have some holidays in the middle. The price for our tuition, that's the gross price. without accommodation, just the course, and it depends the level on the beginning. For the student A0, no knowledge at all, it's gonna cost 10,940 euros to get B2 level. Okay, but for a B1, the students with a B1 level, when arriving, will need only 12 weeks and 3,043 euros. Okay, so again, we do for free a test online. We speak with the student and we advise for the duration of the course. Then we offer very good support services for international students. Most of the time, schools or universities say we help the student in his life in France, but they only give information where they can go for opening a bank account, for having a French social security card, things like that. We can let the student do this by himself, and this is called the package Bienvenue. We just provide with a visa process and an international student card, which is easy, and the cost is 140 euros. Those who prefer us to deal with every administrative task we can do for them. With Tranquillité, they can also get a bank account open, a phone line, an insurance, a guarantor, many services. And those who want to study in France, we will translate every official document and we will present the student's profile to 3 different schools and make the application for them until we have a positive answer. So that's quite time consuming, but that's security for the parents. Again, it is not compulsory to choose these services. Those who want to study and just pay the minimum fee of 140, that's possible, acceptable. I give you some examples of what we offer. We offer a Guarantor Service. That's an official company recognized in France, which will sign a contract with residents, the students' residents, and secure the payment. If the students do not pay, the guarantor will pay every month the fee of the flat, of the apartment. Okay. Otherwise, an apartment owner will always choose a French citizen for renting an apartment for security reason. And with a guarantor, there is no problem at all. Whatever the country the student comes from, the service, he has the same rate, the same possibility to rent an apartment than a French student. This social security card offers international students the same service as French themselves. Every French person has this card, and the government will pay between 70 and 100% of health services. The doctor, pharmacy, hospital is covered by this card. That's quite important. And in France, the power of this card is very, very important. And finally, with APL, the student will receive help from the special fund for students. About 30% of the renting will be paid by the government every month. So that's quite interesting. Again, those who want to deal with French administration can do it by themselves. Those who prefer us to secure everything and deal with every detail with administration. Just have to pay the fee and we do everything. My presentation is almost finished, but now we will consider that the student has every chance to live correctly in France, is learning French, getting the B2 level, and now it's time to study. For having a diploma, we offer a bachelor at inlingua. That's international department manager. And we offer it in 2 years, in 1 year only, because we offer this bachelor to students who already studied 2 years before coming to France, or having 3 years of business experience. So that's quite fast to get this bachelor with us at inlingua. Otherwise, as I said, they can look for something totally different. I remind you that we have more than 55 different schools, 400 diploma, and we will inquire, we will ask the student what he wants to study, and we will present 3 different school profile among this, and we will present the students to the different schools and try to get a positive answer. So that's my the end of my presentation. Just before the question, I want to explain that we have very interesting tools for the agents. Okay, with this I can't see it. I will open my agents area. I'm okay. I'm here. We have a lot of material. For example, we have a lot of document brochures and many things. But sorry, by the end we have a lot of videos, interviews or presentation of the city, a lot of material, a lot of pictures that every accredited agent can download for advertising the program. So that's accommodation. One click here and the whole category will be downloaded, and possible to also to download only one picture. You can see we have many pictures, especially the city. I explained the city is a very nice place, and we have, of course, a lot of pictures to explain this. And also the situation of classes. Okay. And finally, we did an amazing training material for agents, how to present the city to one of your clients. So you can use, for example, you can go there, discover La Rochelle. That's a material for becoming an expert of studies in France and in Lingua La Rochelle. That's very important to follow this. Okay, that, for example, I show you. Can you tell me if you can see? Can you see a little bit the video? Okay, fine. So we explain where we are, and then we give explanation. We visit the city with you, so you can explain what's the life like, where is the school in the city, and many interesting information. I explain one. That's the biggest marina in Europe, in La Rochelle. Okay, stop dreaming, please. I am in La Rochelle, and I have a good chance. Well, so we have a lot of videos for explaining the support service and the different partner schools we have. You have a database with the different schools. We explain what they offer, the level of the diplomas the cities are in, and you can do research here with this engine. So we try to make your life as easy as possible. So I didn't have the chance or time to see if there are some questions, but
Yes.
perhaps.
Yes, we're going to have some questions because I also have some questions from the agencies who were not able to participate
Okay.
due on a different occasions. But if, Jean, I will ask you again to open the presentation. So we're going to have it in any case if you're going to need some information from it.
Okay, I will get it here. Okay.
Okay, if you can go to the Q&A section, there is the first question that we have.
Okay. Teams. No. Sorry. Q&A. Okay, fine. I could join the meeting, so I think I could not follow. No.
All right.
Joint application with language school and diploma. An onward. Yes. Of course, the student should know what he wants or she wants to study. But as soon as this is precise, we can, of course, present the profile. Even we accept the student to say, I will only start learning the French language with you inlingua if I'm accepted in a specific school that I want to study in. That's absolutely possible.
Right. All right. Let's start with the questions that I have at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. From which countries you have the biggest amount of international students applying?
Latin America, Colombia, Venezuela. But I have to be honest, we started these programs 2 years ago with 1 year of COVID. So that's pretty new program indeed. And so far, the school has more connection with Europe. And these programs for sure interest more non-European students.
All right. The next one we have, do you have any students from Pakistan? And do you have any experience about visa success rate for students from Pakistan?
No, we don't have students from Pakistan. In this area in this region, we have students from Afghanistan, and we have been successful with visa from Afghanistan and also from Sri Lanka. But from Pakistan, we don't have experience right now.
Thank you. The next one is, how many university partners do you have in France that offer undergraduate courses?
Undergraduate.
Bachelor.
Yeah. I would say 30, something, 30 schools as a minimum. I have to check on my database, but a lot, yeah.
All right. And how much can you tell about the visa success rate from Nigeria?
I prefer to be honest. I have no experience from Nigeria so far.
From my own experience, guys, I would say that one of the best, let's say, tactics that you can have applying from Nigeria is to be able to pay the full tuition fees in advance, because usually a lot of the embassies are giving refusals on the basis of the partial payments. This is that I can say. And just a couple weeks ago we had the also webinar how to study in Canada, and the university was telling the same information, that basically the biggest problem in Nigeria, that embassies that they do want to have the confirmation of full tuition fees.
Yeah.
We
are quite successful with Mauritania, but it could be different because embassy is another one.
And through these programs, can you facilitate Quebec Canada mobility program?
Yes, of course. And especially we are a TEF examination center. TEF is the exam of French Chamber of Commerce of Paris, and we are an exam center. So we know exactly how to apply and how to prepare, which level, which capacities the students should have. So we know this pretty well. And we can decide the dates of the exam by ourselves. We are not linked to national dates such as DELF, but with TEF we can decide to do a session within the 2 coming weeks.
All right. And can you please open the Q&A, because there is a big question from Mr. Robson.
Okay. Many questions. Thank you, Mr. Robson. Oh, the commission structure. In our case, we will be getting students. Okay, good question. Yes, we give a commission on the tuition fee at inlingua, of course. And as soon as and we also give commission for our we share, let's say, the commission we receive from the partner school, and we share the rate is different when according to the number of students the agent can send to us, but we take it into account, and also what the services we offer, we pay commission also on the services. Of course, we know that sometimes I've met agents who already know 2 or 3 schools in France, and they say, well, my interest is to send to these schools only because I will receive the full commission. If we deal with everything, we take time, but the interest is that the agent, we open doors to 55 schools and not only 3. So of course we share, and in that case we share the commission step by step according to the number of students.
Okay, thank you. Where can we see the list of your partnering institutions? And if you have it on the presentation, can you please show it right now?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So it's a screen open here. I'm sorry because okay. So you have the different schools there. We do not send this list to agents we don't work with. They should know that this exists. They have a lot of material, but we send all the material when we decide to work with a specific agent. Okay. And you have other pages. Some schools are missing here. For example, we have 2 nice engineer school which are not on the list because we signed the contract with them recently. So we will do an update quite soon.
Thank you. The next one is, must a Nigerian student do a French language course? It's probably regarding the admission to the partner university, as I think.
So I'm not sure to understand the question, please.
So if, for example, a Nigerian student will apply for the partner institution, does it mean that they need to do obligatory a French language course?
Yeah, because we, as I said on the beginning of the presentation, we consider the students who want to study in France in French. Most of these schools offer studies in English too, but I believe there are so many countries where it's possible to study in English. English-speaking countries offering studies in English. So I don't see a real interest to come to France and study in English. Sometimes, on very specific cases, we have accepted some students studying in English and just ask them to do one term for being able to, for the daily life in France. For example, with our partner Excelia in La Rochelle, a big management school, business school, they are used to receive Chinese. And at the end of the 3-year course, they are only able to buy a piece of bread in France, in French, using French. Because they studied in English, they stay all together all the time. And they have visited the country, but they don't know it really. So in some very specific cases, we can accept students to study in English if there is a sense to it, but most of the time they should learn French before.
Of course. The next question is from Jude. What is the difference between the 4 stages that you mentioned in the presentation of language courses? A0, A1, A2, B1.
Okay, well, that's the European framework. That's a classification for language capacity. A0 is my level for speaking Arabic, not a single word. Okay, A1 è possibile per me fare una pequeña frase. Bon, c'est it was supposed to be Italian. Some small knowledges and very small sentences. This is A1. A2, quite good understanding when people can repeat and speak slowly, and the sentences are better, more structured, mostly in the present tense. B1 understanding is good. The student is able to use every tenses, but the precision is low. I mean, lack of vocabulary, it is not very good. B2, that's probably my level of English, more or less.
All right, thank you for
and
this
that's
one.
a requirement for studying in France. That's every school will ask for a B2 level before studying.
All right, and the next one is, what is the commission rate?
Okay, well, we start at 20%, and we increase this rate when the agent is able to get more than 5 students in the same year. And we have different categories. What is very important for us is the effort of the agent to train himself and his team, because we know that to sell France, and especially French studies in France in French, is not so easy. And those who just put the brochure on the table and believe that someone will knock the door and ask for specifically our program in La Rochelle has no chance. So it's very important to take our material to train the teams, the advisors, and to imagine a specific marketing, because it's probably easier to sell Canada or United States or things like that than France, and especially for studying in French. So we want to help those who make the effort, the investment of making this training.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
I will be happy to receive emails from the audience and answer specific question country by country. Very happy for that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so the next one that we have is it possible for a student to sign up for the language course and the university or college at the initial level? Truthfully saying, I don't quite understand what does it mean at the initial level.
Is it in the QA? Student sign up for and at the initial level itself.
I think it's maybe Ananda, please, if you can specify what do you mean by initial level, it would be good.
I don't understand very well.
So let's go to another question. We're going to wait until...
Okay. What's the procedure for becoming an agent? Okay. Well, we have to know each other, and I want to understand which investment of time an agent is ready to do for knowing the programs. Okay. Sometimes we have yet some exclusivity in some specific territories. So I want to know which countries they want to represent us in, and we will discuss that. So they send me an email and we will discuss, do another online meeting, and like that. Oh, yeah, we have summer camps. Yeah, we have summer camps for school students. That's called the short-term program. But in July, we are fully booked. We have this camp, but please think for application in August. In July, it's absolutely fully up. We will have more students than in 2019, probably 25% more than in 2019. It's incredible. But we have a short-term program for adults, for kids from 8, for teenagers from 14. They come without the parents and they live in host families or in a nice residence. They can share activities with French teenagers through sports, sailing, windsurfing, and tennis. And some programs mix French language and sailing courses with French teenagers, for example. So we do that too.
Okay, and let's move to another one. What is the duration to get an offer after sending out the application? So basically, I think this means what is the time frame for the admission period from the beginning till the end?
With us, that's quite easy. We just need to know which range of service they expect, which accommodations they would prefer, and then that's a question of 1 week, I would say. For the application in partner school, a minimum of 2 weeks. A minimum of 2 weeks when the profile is precise, when we have every document, I mean the previous diplomas and things like that. And when the project is precise too. I hope I.
Okay.
Are you saying that no university offer courses in English? A lot of universities offer, well, public universities often do not offer courses in English. Public universities. Private universities and private schools, most of the time, offer tuition in English. But our choice is to most of the time offer tuition in French. That's a choice. But a lot of business school, for example, offer tuition in English. But from a tactical point of view, to get a job in the modern world, everybody is able to speak English. So I believe personally that my first presentation about the potential of France, that having a diploma, a French diploma, a good level of French, to know the French culture, the French organization is a good key for having a job in a French company or an international company doing business with France or French-speaking territories. That's why we recommend most of the time to study in French.
All right. What is the average cost of living in France and in your town?
Okay, that's about for those who have the pack of service. I mean, those who receive the fund from the government for paying 30% of the rate of the apartment. That's about 600 euros a month. Apartment, food, transportation, everything. We do not include in the 600 euros those who want to go to a concert every Saturday and do a trip to Paris once a month, things like that, leisures. But for the cost of living correctly, accommodation, food, about 600 euros a month.
Okay. Do you provide any kind of assistance for students who are applying for visa?
Of course, of course. Well, we prepare an invitation letter, confirmation of inscription, letter for accommodation. That's important to say. The student will be accommodated at residence near Rochelle, for example, and we have a letter, an official letter from the residence, which is attached to our invitation. As I said, we have a recognition with a label, which is very helpful because Campus France knows us. We also have our catalog in Campus France tools. So for some territories, it will be compulsory to go on Campus France and do the inscription on their tool in our catalog. But also those who know what they would like to study can have an acceptation of a school and a joint letter of a business school or an engineer school attached to our letter. And that's a very strong profile for Campus France and the consulate.
All right. Just a second.
Many questions. Impressive.
Yes. So are you saying that no school in France would accept students without undergoing a French language course?
Are you saying that no school in France would accept a student without undergoing? No, well, for studying in French, when the student starts studying in, for example, next month of September or October, they should have the B2 level. If they choose a French track, if they choose an English track, that's a level of English which will be required. But we can present a student, we did it often. We present a student's profile with no level of French at all, but for entering in 2023. And that's absolutely possible. But before starting the course, the letter of acceptation is conditional. They say, you are accepted in our business school in September 2023 at the condition you can present a certificate of level B2 in French. But they can present their application through us now without any level.
All right. Once you have applied for the French course, is there a possibility to apply for the next level studies of inlingua partnership college?
Yes, of course. Yes. It's possible to do the application before starting the course with us, or often the students are not exactly sure what they want to study. So they come here and we can help them for visiting some schools, reading many brochures, visiting web pages with us with the different offers. And then we help them to choose when they are here with us in La Rochelle. They can decide it before if they know exactly what they want to do, or with us, they can take time and do it during their study of French.
All right. The next one is how much is the estimated fee to study medical courses? Guys, this is very broad question. And the next one, how much is the tuition fee to study non-medical courses? This is a very broad question. The prices are different from institution to institution, and medical courses are also different between themselves.
Yes, but 90% of the courses for medical are in the public sector, and there is a strong selection for starting with. There is 1 and 2 years of selection to present. I don't know, that's not a race, that's a competition. For example, there are 200 students accepted by the end, and 4,000 try. Okay, so after 2 years of studies, only 200 will be chosen among 4,000. That's an example, but probably not so far from the reality. The cost is the one we saw for public studying. The cost of studying is quite low, but the duration is 12 years, and including 2 years for this preparatory course, and try to have a chance to be selected in the small numbers accepted. Not easy to explain. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. Most of the time, those who are not selected for becoming doctors, okay, study something easier. For example, kinésithérapeute. I don't know if it's the same term in English. They're not doctors, but they help people when they have problem with their articulation, things like that. That's 2 years of study only, or they become nurses, things like that. So they try to have the best, to be chosen in the selection, If not, they do something else in the health sector with shorter studies. And in this case, there are private schools. For becoming a doctor, official ones, there are no private schools. But a good, very difficult selection.
Okay. Does every foreign national receive living financial aid?
Yes. Yes. That's the status of a student, which is important, not the nationality. But to be honest, that's quite difficult with the French administration. But we know exactly how to do. And as soon as they are recognized as students, and we have every official documents from them, we don't have any problem. That's not a question of nationality. Not at all.
Thank you. The next one is, okay, how many semesters does the French language course last? Is the last one.
Sorry. How many semesters does the French course last? Well, that's, I come back to my slide here. Okay, so that it depends on the level. Without no knowledge and not a Latin native language, 48 weeks. Or those who are already B1, that's just that's 3 months course. So we define students level with an interview, speaking interview on web with a webcam, plus an MCQ online, and we advise for the duration of the course.
Thank you.
How many start dates do you have in France? Four start dates. We have 4 intakes, as I showed here. January, April, July, October. You have to consider the time for having the visa. So please do a pre-enrollment 2 or 3 months in advance. Now for July, it's too late. We will work for, if you have a student interested now, let's speak of October or perhaps January.
All right. And what are the basic requirements to do the French language course? I think as there are different levels, let's maybe, if you can define the most general one.
Okay, to be aged more than 16 and plus, and to have a good motivation. That's it. No other requirement. At 16 and plus, we accept every level, every nationality, every culture. Nothing else.
Okay, the next one. If the student wants to study the English
track, what language? Okay. That can be IELTS. It can be TOEIC. In France, TOEIC is well known. Official. It depends on the schools, but most of the times that's TOEIC or IELTS.
Okay. And how long each session is? I think it has to do with the time frame for the language courses.
Okay. Well, as I said, that's here. Well, we every week the students will have 20 hours of tuition until the time they reach B1 level, and they will have 25 hours of tuition, Monday to Friday, no course during weekends. They have some holidays which are already decided here. And again, the duration of the course to get the B2 level depends on the level they have when they start, and if they have a Latin native language or not. That's easy to decide with the agent. They present a student profile. We do a Skype interview for free within the following days. And we say, this student will need 9 months and the other one 6 months, for example. We do it very fast. And even before they paid any fee. That's for advising the student.
Mm-hmm. And could you please reshare again the fee structure?
Yeah. Okay. So there are 2 fees to pay with us for learning the language. The course fee, which is here, and the packages of services. So that's package 20 hours, A1, A2, 25 hours here. So an example, a student considers the A2 will have to pay 5,903 euros or 10,940 if the student has no knowledge and not a native Latin native language. Okay. Above this, each student has to choose a pack of service. The smaller one is Bienvenue, 140 euros. That's compulsory. But if they want to pay to have all the services without difficulties in France, it's possible to pay Tranquillité or Études or the global pack. To be honest, most of the students are paying the global pack when they can, of course, when they can. But those who want to pay only 140, and that's possible. But they will have to discuss with French administration for the health security system, for the guarantor, for everything. Without good knowledge of French and good knowledge of the French administration, that's not so easy, but possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go to the next one. So if you have a student who is interested in coming to study in English in public school, he or she would have to do the French language course first? Question mark.
Well, first, there are not many English tracks in public schools. The public university in France teaches in French. 95% of diplomas are delivered in French in the public university. Okay, first. Secondly, we consider that a minimum of 3 months of course, French course should be done before studying in English. Why? Because that's a pity after 3, 4, 5 years in France not to be able to speak with local person in French. So I believe a minimum knowledge for daily life is compulsory, and we can in some specific cases accept to help a student to find a place in an English track if they do a 3-month course with us.
Okay, this one is good. The next one, what documents are required for the French language course?
Okay, we need a passport copy, which there we will have officially the the age of the student. And for just studying in France, that's well, and we have a questionnaire. The student says what's their project, which services they would like to get from us, and which accommodation. Because we will find an accommodation for the delivery of the visa, it's important to have an address for living in France. Okay. We ask for a deposit of 25% of the tuition fee, not accommodation. 25%, because that's a rule we follow with the embassies. We don't send invitation letters to students who paid nothing. That's not serious, okay? And so we ask 25% deposit, which is refund. Expect 140 euros if the student do not have the visa, and then we deliver all the documents. Those who want a full pack of service need to send us a birth certificate, a copy of their diploma, and a teacher's appreciation for the previous years when they studied. We have quite a long list, and we will do an official translation of them, and if necessary, the recognition of their diploma into the French system. But just for learning the language, the passport, the questionnaire, and a deposit of 25%. And then we send the document for applying to visa.
Thank you. The next one is, do you have any age limit for the international students coming?
Well, the younger, 16, the older, no limit. Well, we regularly receive students who have 30, but other than that, I don't have the experience. Well, no limit in the reality, but no experience for more than 30.
All right. So probably this was the last question, but you know. Okay, guys, thank you for asking the questions. I will paste once again, Mr. Jean's contact information. You will have his email address, phone number, WhatsApp number, and Skype right in the chat. So if you will have any kind of additional questions, please use the email address or any other channel of communication that is available. And for Mr. Jean, I want to thank you for a very informative and very interesting presentation. As you see, we had tons of questions, and I hope that we answered them all. If not, as was mentioned,
contact me. It will be a pleasure to discuss with you. You first send me an email, and I send you a link for choosing a time for doing an online session with each of you. No problem. It will be very interesting. No problem. I can start sometimes very early in the morning, and other days very late in the evening for adapting myself to your time.
All right. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for your time for conducting the presentation. And
okay,
all best to you.
Okay, merci, au revoir.